We were faced with a challenge to create a short film under than 3 minutes. With being my first short film ever, we had a few problems along the way, so let's get started. For making Intruder, we were very limited on gear, so what we used is what I owned. We used the Sony a6500 with an 18 by 35mm lens with a Canon to Sony adapter. We also had a rig from Small Rig holding our microphone, Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, and a small HD 5-inch display monitor, and a focus wheel. For lighting, we only had 2 LED panels from GVM. For stabilization, we used a slider. Other than a few tripods, that's all we used. To create the first scene of our talent, Luke walking in, we used 2 tripods, attaching the slider to it, and then the camera. For lighting, we didn't want to use the overhead, so instead we used the LED panel to make it seem that we were using the overhead. So when Luke goes to flick the switch, Stephanie will flick the switch on the LED panel. Going into the second scene, we set up the camera the same way as the previous scene. Lighting, we actually didn't use any additional lighting besides the overhead was providing. To create the flickering lights effect, Stephanie would just flick the light switch off and on. That's it, very simple. In the third scene, we realized our next big problem. There was no room for anything to be placed in the room. Since we didn't have time to search for a location, we used my apartment, a 650 square foot apartment. After trying to go handheld, the results wasn't to our liking, so we brought in the slider and tried setting it up the best we can. Our biggest problem was that there was a giant mirror looking to the bedroom, and I kept being caught on camera. To get away from this, we just had to keep adjusting the camera until I wasn't anymore. For the lighting, it was the exact same as the first scene. Going to the next shot to reveal our hidden figure, we used just a tripod. We lowered one of the legs, and when ready, I would slowly drop it to create one nice little Dutch effect. Lighting was done with one little light panel in the corner of the room portraying the overhead. For the rest of the scenes, we portrayed the same routine throughout. Unfortunately, we don't have behind-the-scenes video of those due to the fact that all behind-the-scenes cameras kept dying, even our phones. We didn't have any extra hands for someone to be operating the behind-the-scenes camera. They eventually all died. The last thing I want to mention is audio. When editing, I realized the audio didn't turn out great due to a lot of ambient sounds coming from the house. So we used some special effects sounds to replace those, and for voice, we had to do our own ADR. I turned my closet into a studio by trying to isolate the sound as much as possible. We put the camera in the booth and started recording his voice. Here's a preview without ADR and with it.
Oh, come on. I gotta get that fixed.
Oh, come on.
Also, I want to add is that when filming this, our last few shots, we realized we didn't take away a tripod behind our actor. So fortunately, we had to upscale this, leaving a whole bunch of grain. Fortunately, I don't like this, but we had to keep it in due to the fact that we didn't have time to reschedule and reshoot. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoy watching our behind the scenes of Intruder, and special thanks to Rode for giving us beginner filmmakers a shot in the big leagues.